Hey there, in this video I'm going to talk about Newton's third law of motion. So to start with, the law it is to every action there is an equal but opposite reaction, which means if you apply a force on a wall, if you apply a force, let's say 10 newtons of force, but usually we do not draw it like this. We will draw it like this. And at the same time, this wall, it is exerting an equal magnitude of force, which is 10 newtons. Okay, so this is basically how it works. So if you apply 10 newtons of force, this wall, it is going to exert 10 newtons of force, equal magnitude of force. So right now, I'm going to draw a wall. And the mass of this wall, it is 1000 kg. And this car hits this wall. Okay, the mass of this car, it is 500 kg. Okay, and the acceleration of this car, it is 2 ms squared. So right now, when this car hits the wall, the force is going to be 500 times 2 is going to be 100 newtons of force. Okay, which means this car, it is exerting 1000 newtons of force to this wall, and at the same time, this wall, it is going to exert 1000 newtons of force as well. But this car, when it hits, this car will like bounce back, right? Because the mass of this car, it is lower than this wall. So F equals to ma, right? So 1000 newtons, and the mass, it is 1000 kg. 1000 kg, right? So times the A. So right now we are finding the acceleration of this wall first, because notice that when you hit this wall, it is not moving, right? The reason is because the acceleration of this wall, it is extremely low in this case. So 1000 newtons over 1000 equals to A. 1000 over 1000 is going to be 1. So the acceleration of this wall is going to be 1 ms squared. Okay, so in this case, you will not notice the wall, it is moving, but actually it is moving. Theoretically, this wall, it is accelerating to our east direction. Okay, and this will be our west direction. So right now, let's find the acceleration of this car when it hits the wall and it bounces back. Let's do the same thing, 1000 newtons. Because the reaction force, it is 1000 newtons, so we know that the force, it is going to be 1000, and the mass, it is 500 kg times A. So 1000 divided by 500, the acceleration is going to be 2. Okay, but I know that the difference is not much, but in this case, I just want to say that the reason the car bounces in greater speed, it is because the reaction force on the wall, it is going to be negative 1000 newtons, right? So we know that the reaction force, it is equals in magnitude, which means that if you exert a force, the magnitude is going to be same, right? In this case, so when we compare it, F equals to ma, and this negative ma, but the magnitude, it is going to be same. So in this case, we are not going to focus on this negative sign. We're just going to focus on this ma because they are equal in magnitude. The negative is just that the direction, it is different. So in this case, the mass of this wall, it is greater than the mass of this car, which means that we have greater mass, and at the same time, we must have lesser acceleration to make it equal. Okay, so in this case, the mass, it is lower, right? So I will just put a downwards direction arrow, which means it is lower in mass, but in this case, we must have greater acceleration, so that at the end of the day, the magnitude of the force, it is going to be same, which is 1000 newtons, it is equals to negative 1000 newtons. Just remember, don't focus too much on this negative sign in this equation, because we are basically talking about the MA, the magnitude. Okay, so let us just try another example so that you will get a better understanding of what I had just explained. So right now, imagine that you are in a swimming pool and this is the wall. The wall, right? And this is the water. Okay, you are in the water. You are basically swimming, and this is you. Okay, this is you. Notice that every time you are going to swimming, when you kick the wall, you are basically going in the opposite direction, right? So in this case, the wall is going to be our east direction, and here will be our west direction. So as I just said, notice that if you apply the force to the wall, which is facing the east direction, and let me just erase this wall word first. I will write it here. Okay, so every time if you exert a force to this wall in the east direction, at the same time the wall, it is pushing you. When you push the wall, the opposite direction, it is going to push back you. So it is pushing you like this. So that's why every time when you are swimming, you want to swim, right? So when you kick this wall will push you, and you will swim to the west direction, which means that if you apply greater force to this wall, you will swim faster, right? Because increase in force means increase in acceleration in this case. Okay, and that's it for this video. I hope you have understood what I had just explained, and do remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.